I am Patrick, and this is Brian. Together, we just got done being evil superheroes, or evil supervillains, actually. We played Thwarted at Cloak and Blaster. Join us for Thwarted. Brian, tell us all about Thwarted, the game of super villainy.
Super villainy.
Super villainy, Brian.
Could be hyper villainy. Sure. Thwarted, the game of super villainy, is a 3 to 5 player take that game. The theme is obviously set in a like a parody supervillain kind of role, where each of the players are assuming the role of supervillains, and they're battling superheroes in the center of the board, and you're trying to defeat them and move them to your containment area. And they're worth a certain number of victory points at the end of the game. The end of the game is basically whenever all of the superheroes run out of the lineup and out of their headquarters. And the other way that the game can cease is when all of the draw deck is emptied. Generally, each player starts off with 5 cards in their hand, and they're going to draw a card at the beginning and at the end of their turn. Generally, each player can take 2 different actions during their turn. They can make 1 attack against one of the superheroes, and the other thing they can do is they can play 1 action card from their hand. Those action cards have all kinds of take that abilities. Some of them might be like steal a card at random, collect everybody's cards, throw away half of them, distribute the other half evenly amongst them, automatically steal one of their guys or something like that. So the action cards are just are a really good mix. Let's see. Combat. So when on your first turn, you can only take one of those 2 different actions, either a combat or play an action card. When you actually move to combat, each of the action cards is a certain color or certain type of damage. There's like fire, ice, cosmic, magical, and radiation, or radioactive. And you'll use those as different combat types that you would assign to defeat the superheroes in the center of the deck, and they have a value in the top right corner. That's also how much victory points they're worth, and that's how much damage you have to do to them. So you'll launch an attack, and there might be some guys that have a certain resistance, or they might have a certain weakness. So some cards of a certain type might do more or less damage to that particular superhero. So once you launch your attack, then you look around the board and you see if anyone else is going to try to block your attack. And then, of course, the name of the game is Thwarted, so there are even special cards called thwarts, which can stop blocks and stop other kinds of special abilities from happening.
And attacks too.
And attacks too. I think there's some abilities on the thwarts that allow that to happen as well. So there's a lot of social interaction and diplomacy and stuff like that as well. Anyways, Patrick, what would you say is your favorite thing about Thwarted?
It really is the quintessential take that game. So if you're somebody that really likes to just screw people over the entire time during the game, this is it. This is your game. I love that aspect of it. Every action feels like I'm just doing something horrible to somebody. So it's because it's the quintessential take that.
And you enjoy that so much. Can you give us a maniacal laugh? That's pretty good, actually. So I think you probably practice that in the bathroom.
I do.
So, yeah. The thing that I like best about Thwarted is it's a very easy game to get up and going. So I would say it's a great gateway game to bring new gamers, people who aren't maybe familiar with games. It's quick to set up and you start playing, and before you know it, you're just having fun. And it is a take that game. So it's just a quick, fun gateway type game. Patrick, what would you say is the thing that you like least about Thwarted, though?
There's not a lot to dislike on this particular game. I've said this before, and I'm going to have to say it again. If there's one thing I don't like, it's the genre of this game. It's not that it's not the take that part I'd really enjoy. It's the fact that it's a fairly light, fun, quick game, and it gets down fast and it plays fast. That's not the kind of game that I would really kind of gravitate towards usually. So if it's going to be anything, it's going to be...
So you like heavier, longer games?
Heavy, long strategy games, it's going to be that.
Okay.
And if there's one thing, if you had to choose one thing that you didn't like, what would it be?
For me, I think I have to say it's the player marker. I forgot to do it a couple of times, and so I do understand that it's needed in the mechanic and for the superheroes to come back to the deck. Like if no one actually combats and captures a superhero, then that forces cards to be milled off the deck towards the end of the game condition. But it's just one thing that if another player doesn't happen to take a superhero, they're the ones basically that have to remember to take that card, so it like resets the process. Otherwise, you can end up with the card and it's like, I forgot to do it. But I don't know. I guess with a couple more games or whatever, it just becomes second nature after a while. But it's
Sure,
one
get
thing.
used to it.
One thing that I happen to overlook a couple of times. But again, Thwarted will be coming very, very soon to Kickstarter. So make sure you head over there and back for a couple of copies.
I'm Patrick. This is Brian. Together we just got played. Thank you very much for watching. I do. You're right. I do practice that in the bathroom.
Yeah. Hey,
You practice thwarting in the bathroom a lot, though, don't you?
Well, I try to hold it in, but sometimes I can let a thwart out. And,
In the bathroom,
yeah.
it's fine. You can thwart some maniacal laughter in your bathroom.
Yeah.
What kind of production is this?